So yesterday I showed you my vegetable patch with only some chives growing, and I told you that I would be digging up a strip of 1 metre or so width all along it to plant my onions and garlic today. I did that yesterday, but the wind noise was quite bad, so I don't think there's much sound on those 2 videos. So today I'm going to be planting the onions and garlic. So I'll try and take you through that when I'm out there. Ja, Rastafari. So I'm going to use my little homemade tool to just go down about 2 centimetres or 1 inch and plant my first bag of onions sets 6 inches apart. So I've sowed about 3 and something rows of onions, and I'm going to cover them with soil now. I don't know if you can see those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in places. And tomorrow I'm going to plant the garlic. Ja. So here are my garlic bulbs to plant. Obviously you have to break off each segment and plant each segment individually. So I'm going to do that now and then plant them tomorrow. So there's the garlic ready to plant tomorrow. Ja willing. Ja Rastafari. So having planted onions before that stick, I'm going to be planting the garlics 2 inches into the earth behind the stick in rows. Okay, so you should be able to see 3 and a bit rows of garlic planted. So I'm just going to cover those with soil now. Okay, so the rest of the veg patch has been prepared now for planting. So at the moment, all I've got going is onion and garlic in this front part, and then chives there. Got some fever grass in there for tea, and some comfrey in that box, which is a feed for the soil and for plants also. The 2 pieces of string are basically a watering lane that I can walk between once I've planted beyond that and not tread on any food. Also, I've propped up my £2,600 fence that I had put up last year. So I haven't finished yet, but hopefully that will make it ultra strong, as recommended by my brethren Keston. Give thanks, Keston. So it's Judge Rastafari, and I, Captain Selassie, Black Power. So I planted my tomato plants, although they don't look too healthy at the moment. Hopefully they'll improve, in small pots to begin with. They won't be going outside until the 1st of July. Let's hope they will make it. Ja Rastafari. As you can see, the onions and garlic are coming up. So today I'm going to plant some potatoes. I don't normally do potatoes because they don't do very well here, but I've got potatoes that have sprouted, so rather than eat them, I'm going to plant them. So I've dug individual holes about 4 to 6 inches depth, about 6 inches apart, and now I'm going to cover them with soil, and that's them planted. Ja Rastafari. So there they are, all planted up to the chives, and just round the corner of that box of fever grass or whatever it's called. Garden update. You can see the onions and garlic are all flourishing nicely. My chives are doing their thing. So I've planted some potatoes here, which I'm sure I videoed earlier on, but none of them have come up for some reason, so I don't know what that's about. Anyway, today I'm going to be planting the beetroot, which I'm going to plant along the back behind those buttresses, because they don't need a lot of sun or anything really. You just stick them in the ground, they grow good. So these are the beetroot plug plants, and all I'm doing is basically standing them up and then covering them with earth. So I'm going to plant them along here, 6 inches apart or so, and then give them a good watering. I'll show you when I'm done. So I've given the beetroot a good watering, and as with everything else, I'll keep you aloft of how they're growing. So earlier I said that I planted potatoes, but none of them have come up. But I'm mistaken, give thanks to Jaja, because I've spotted a couple that are coming up. There's one right there. I need to weed around here. And there's another one right there. So, good to see. Today we're going to be planting these 3 pumpkin plants, but unfortunately two of them are more or less broken in the post. I'm going to try and plant them and bed them in anyway. Ja, Mustafa. There's one planted, which will be lucky to make it. I'm not going to be buying those mail order again. Get damaged too easily, just like tomato plants. There's number 2, it looks dead already, but planting it in the faith of Jarastafari Selassie. Plant number 3, my one good plant. So these 2 are Scotch bonnet plants, which I've received and I've repotted. Apparently they grow best in pots, so I might keep them in pots, just get bigger pots for them. My tomato plants, varying degrees of growing, will be going out soon. This is another Scotch bonnet plant, but as you can see it's not doing too well still. Okay, so today the tomato plants I've been growing indoors and partially outdoors are going into the ground. I forgot to start videoing when I started, so I've already planted 2, but I'll show you those and give you a general update on the garden. These are my Scotch bonnet plants, all of which have survived, which is good. So I get plenty bonnets. So I've been weeding like crazy last few days. So my onions and garlic are looking okay. You have to weed. If you don't weed, you're feeding the weeds, and when you water, they're drinking your water, which should be for your plants. With the potato plants, or the majority of them, have all come up. I've boxed my chives there. Use the lemon stuff for tea. This is my comfrey, which I use for fertilizer. So these are the 2 that I planted out already. You need to stake them to protect them from the wind, and as my sister told me, you stake the plant to the stick. So you wrap the twine round the plant and then onto the stick, not the other way round. All my pumpkin plants have died, which I'm really pissed off about. I'm not going to buy any of those online again. Neither tomato plants. So these are my beetroot, which all appear to be doing well. I've lost a couple, but nothing major. Just need to water those. So yeah, I'm going to carry on planting these tomato plants. So I've planted 2 of the weaker plants I got online in pots in my front garden, and the other 6, which are a mixture of weaker ones from online and 3 that I bought from a garden centre, which I shall do in the future, all planted and staked up. So I'm just going to plant my Scotch bonnet plants now. I've got 3 of them. They're going to go in these pots because apparently they grow better in pots. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, so these are the Scotch bonnet plants that I planted in the tubs. So as you can see, I've staked them with much smaller stakes. They don't grow at all, but they can still use a bit of protection from the wind. So I'm going to give everything a good soaking now. And then the next instalment will be, the only thing I'm waiting on now is some kale that I've ordered. So I'm going to be growing that for the first time. So I'll bring you in again when I've got those. Keep you updated. Remember, keep weeding. Ja Rastafari. So just a quick garden update. These are the pumpkin seeds that I planted, so I'm going to be transplanting at least one to the ground today, and maybe stake it as well. My Scotch bonnet plants are doing well. There's a couple of flowers on that, which hopefully will turn into peppers. The others are flowers on the plants yet. The garden in general, it's been so dry this year. The onions, they're okay, but not as great as they normally are. My garlic have failed big time. They're skinny and scrawny, and enough of them are dead. And I think the ones that remain, the bulbs are going to be small, if they're at all. Potato plants are doing their thing. Lemon balm's gone crazy, as you can see. Chives are flowering and renewing themselves. That's my comfrey over there, which I use as plant food. Tomatoes, got one on there, and some flowers which hopefully will turn into tomatoes. Got 2 on this one, and more flowers appearing also. Got a flower on that one and a tomato there. Nothing on this one yet, but potential flowers coming up. And the same with this one. So I'm going to have to restake them. There's 1 flower and 1 tomato on that one. So yeah, I'm going to be restaking those as well. Beetroot seems to be doing okay. Yeah, just to highlight the garlic plants. They look weak, thin, and just not what they usually are. It's been so dry. I'll take you to the other 2 tomato plants I've got in the front, and the bay leaves as well. So this tomato plant has a few flowers which hopefully will progress to tomatoes. This one has 1 tomato, and potentially more flowers coming. Bay leaves are doing well, and my lavender, which I have for smell, hopefully will bush out and carry on bushing out and growing. So I've repotted one of the pumpkin plants in this tub. I'm going to plant another one there in this area once I've weeded it, and another one in this area also. So I'm doing the last of the planting today. which are these kale plants. So I'm going to plant them in this area here, which I've turned over. Add some of my compost to it and plant them. So I'll show you once that's done. Here is a couple of late pumpkins. You never know, you might get small pumpkins from them still, even though they're late if we get a heat wave. There's another pumpkin. Here's all the potato plants. There's pumpkin in there. There's my feed, which is comfrey. My chives. Tomato plants. There's another pumpkin there. All along here. We've got beetroot. Here we got Trinidad thyme, which is supposed to grow indoors, but anyway, trying a thing. And this is a sweet pepper plant, which again is supposed to be indoors, but we'll see how it goes. All along here, we've got garlic at the front, which is pretty much failed, where it was too dry before they could establish themselves. And even the onions aren't great this year. The rows are back there. But they're there, but just not great. And that is the sum total of the planting, apart from my 3, again, Scotch bonnet pepper plants, which have flowered but haven't produced any fruit yet. So I'm hoping to grow at some stage. So, garden update. The onions are going to be coming up into this month. Some of them are a good size, some of them aren't. It's been a bit hit and miss this year because of the extremes in the weather. Too hot one minute, too wet another, too cold another. England is a bitch. There's no escaping it. So that's the onions. At the front of the onions, all along before the street, is garlic, but most of those have failed this year. I don't know how many I'm going to get when I dig them up, but it won't be many. You can just see the stalks of them there sticking out of the ground. So we'll see how that goes, but that's been a bit of a failure. Beetroot, doing okay. So expecting some healthy beetroots anyway this year. Tomatoes, not too bad considering I don't usually have much luck with tomatoes. Don't know what's the matter with this plant, it hasn't even flowered. All the rest have got fruit on them. This here is chives. Here we've got potatoes again. I don't know how good they're going to be when they come up. So over here, got a pumpkin, so I'm hoping to get a few pumpkins out of this one. They were all planted too late, but you never know. I don't think this one will bring any, for instance, or this one probably. This one might, you never know. Depends on what kind of September we have. So this here, at the back here under the netting is kale. Seems to be growing okay, but getting eaten a bit by I don't know what. Because I don't use pesticides or anything in my garden. This here is a sweet pepper plant, but apparently it should have been grown indoors, so I'm not sure how that's going to do. And this here is a Trinidadian thyme plant, again. Should be planted indoors, I don't know how well that's going to do. That's it for the front. These are Scotch bonnet plants, 3 of them, that I planted in tubs. I had them outside originally, but the weather was so piss poor that I had to bring them into the shed. They're flowering, but whether they actually produce any fruit, I don't know. I haven't had much luck with those in the past anyway. A couple of tomato plants out here in the front. This one's doing okay. This one sort of up and down, but it's there. This is bay leaf I'm growing here. Seems to be going alright. And this is this is lavender, just for smell and decoration. So that's the update for now. So it's the 1st of September today, so I'm starting to harvest the food. So these are some onions that I've harvested already, and some tomatoes. But I'm going to be digging up the potatoes and showing you the rest of the food as well. So gradually over the next few days I'm going to be harvesting. So these potatoes have been eaten a bit by whatever, so I'm going to use those tomorrow to cook something. I'll take you over to the crop. When you watch the video diary from the start, you'll know that I only planted potatoes because I had a packet in the cupboard that I forgot about, and they sprouted, so I planted them. So as you can see there, that's not a bad yield. So I do give thanks now unto the Most High Jah Rastafari Selassie. Garlic, yeah, bit of a flop, but I've been digging and I've picked out a few still, but as you can see they're very small, not much bigger than the bulb that I planted, but something better than nothing, Judge, I know that. Onions coming out all good, tomatoes coming out all good. So it's Judge Afari for I and I, Captain Selassie. I tell business, Nyabinghi business. I'm gonna come from work 6 o'clock, come straight out in the garden, start harvest. That's how it go. Jah Rastafari. So as you can see, I pulled up some beetroot. This is the biggest one. So they've suffered just like all the other fruit, but something better than nothing. More onions I've pulled up, this being the biggest one so far, but they should all be that size. But never mind, next year, Joe will be life spare. So here is some of my tomato crop. As I said, my tomatoes have done well this year, I give thanks. So I've grown both plum tomatoes and round tomatoes. Jah Rastafari. So the green netting over there is where I planted my kale to keep the pigeons away from it. I harvested it today and it's been decimated by flipping little green caterpillars. So I'm going to try to salvage what I can, but as you can see it's been well nyam out. So I don't think I'll be growing that again still. So here's the entire beetroot harvest. Some of them are frozen, I've just put in the last one. They're very small to what they usually are, but hopefully next year a better harvest. All the squash and pumpkins went in late because the plants I received at first were no good, so I planted these from seed. Still, there's a few little ones there to make with some soup with, so give thanks to Judge Afari. Onion harvest, there's still more to come. They're drying out in the shed. For now, that's it. So this is my success story. I usually have a terrible time with tomatoes, but I planted the plum ones and round ones as well, and I've had a really good yield. So these are all ready. I'm going to blend them to a sauce and then freeze it. I might do the same with the green ones as well, because my partner, she's Nigerian and knows about green stew, which you make with green tomatoes, green whatever, So yeah, I give thanks to Judge Afari. I continually still a success story with the tomatoes. Jah Rastafari. Incidentally, my favourite fruit or vegetable or whatever is the tomato. Well, avocado comes close, tell you the truth. So I went away for 2 weeks. Before I went, I was going to throw away these pepper plants, which I'd given up on completely. And when I came back, there's 2 little bonnets on this plant here. So not a total loss, but nearly. But give thanks for anything, I should. Ja. So I've just pulled up some late garlic, and that's the total harvest now. So I'm going to put the video together and put that out. God willing, next year we'll have a better crop because we won't have the 2 extremes of weather, like extremely wet or extremely hot. But then again, I do think that's probably the future of the weather here anyway. Give all the praise unto the Most High Jah, Rastafari, Nyabinghi UK, Vegan Ital.